Welcome, fools, to a new series. Um, okay, so in short, I'm doing voiceover work for this because I recorded it and apparently audio defaulted to something else, and haha, yeah. But the entire idea behind this series is that there's this great place. It's like a paradise, and it's like a holiday kind of thing. You can go here. You can you know, you get these great, awesome rooms. It's all inclusive. You can actually even work on armor or weapons if you want to, or whatever you want to. However, upon entering, the 100 people that got assigned to this, they all were given collars. These collars were to help them enter and exit through doors. Keep track of what food they get, so that way, when you actually are at certain places, you keep track of it and can start suggesting the things that you actually want. However, what the colors actually do is upon you realizing that you no longer have a heartbeat, it blows you up. And as you can tell, Tammy's involved. I'm actually going to increase her levels because she talks like a person that is, in the next room.
Meh.
Yeah, it's a little bit better. So yeah, I got Tammy involved in this just because, yeah, I'm gonna have to do voiceover work. I thought it'd be nice to have Tammy involved.
Because you guys can't get enough of me.
So there is actually only 90 rooms and 100 pawns. So I'm telling the group, in some point, I'm like, you know what? They'll figure it out. They actually do start figuring out. They actually start getting into a relationship pretty quickly.
What does the green mean?
That's roofing. I left the roofing thing on because of the fact that I built everything in dev mode. It doesn't build roofs.
Ooh.
So I actually had to give it orders to make roofs.
Makes sense. I just was really confused because it was like slowly where they were going, and I'm like,
I was going to start working on all this, but at some point I was just like, you know what?
there's 100 of them?
They'll figure it out. Yeah, that's about the time I'm like, you know what? Screw it. They'll figure it out.
Oh my goodness.
They are definitely not going to live long enough for me to really care. So, why care?
There's no animals in this, right? Just
Correct. Actually, I think there's a
ones.
dog. I think there's a Labrador retriever that I eventually kill. I realized that they're building a roof there. I'm like, oh wait, actually, I don't want you guys building a roof there. That's supposed to be a heat vent. So I kind of need it to not have a roof so that the heat goes out and not just sticks to that one spot. So yeah. So yeah, without spoiling how many episodes are in this series, all of them that I've recorded are going to need to be voiceover. So yeah, anytime you're going to do that today, I'm just setting up the crematorium, which I found out afterwards is relatively useless.
They cremate, cremate themselves.
Yeah, well, I could actually have made them burn instead of blow up, but I thought blow up was funner. But also, they don't just blow up. Apparently, anything that dies blows up. At one point, there's a rat that I get one of them to kill. Actually, no, yeah, it's a rat self-tames. And I'm like, wait, why is there rat self-tamed? So I go and get rid of the rat that self-tamed. And, yeah, so there's new lovers there. So, already people, figuring out hey, I should really, get into a relationship if I want a room.
Yeah, I mean, none of them would have been without.
Yep. Well, now it's, I think, 9 or 8, but yeah. So, yeah, I see the rat self-tames. I'm like, oh, okay, so there's a rat that self-tames. I go, like, set it to slaughter. The person runs up, kills it, and it blows up. I'm like, oh, this is going to be interesting. I know, it's a little foreshadowing. Seeing how I know it happens. And we're only 5 minutes in.
Like he can foresee the future.
Yeah. That middle one doesn't have power. So I'm trying to figure out how much electricity I have to do. And so those lights, those 2 lights don't have power. So I'm trying to figure out how much I have to actually do. But the 1 light actually linked to the thing at the bottom, but that one still needs an extra little bit. I'm like, oh man, okay, well, guess I'll make another one. But yeah, they're all making cowboy hats. They're all making toques and armor and all that stuff. To, for the concept of what happens when they get attacked. And that person doesn't have a room, so they just slept on the floor. Sucks to be them. I don't even know how many people actually slept on the floors because I didn't actually pay enough attention to that. Here I am setting up all the mining and stuff
Just totally
while they're sleeping.
oblivious to the things to come.
Oh, yeah. Like, they don't know they're going to blow up upon death. That's not something that, the, I was going to say real estate agent, but it's not real estate agent. Like,
Agency?
yeah, the travel agency did not tell them. So, and here I am just, giving them more jobs because it's, saying that people are idle. I'm like, there is no way you guys should be idle. I actually don't know if they actually says it here soon, but yeah. At one point, they're like, we're idle. I'm like, there's no way you guys are idle. So.
Little ponds around there.
Yeah, it's... we're watching this on my one screen. It's a little bit smaller than it should be. I could make it a bit larger, but I think that may mess up with the audio recording, so I'm not going to. We're watching it back right now and narrating. Yeah, they're not moving it, hauling anything. I'm like, oh, you're idle because you actually can't haul. So that's one of the problems. They can't haul anything. So I'm like, oh man, huh. Some of those mods like deep stacks may actually be something I add to the series.
It is a useful one.
That way, at the very least, they can stack steel on top of steel and food on top of food, and save some room at least. The walls are made of plasteel.
The joys of having dev mode.
Yeah. But I chose plasteel because it's one of the strongest materials. So it's like, yeah, plasteel should be good. And the beds are all golden beds. Because that's what's the most beautiful.
I suppose so. Probably be uncomfortable.
Well, I guess it's just the frame is made out of gold, and then you actually have your bed. I think the beds are actually royal beds, if I remember correctly. So because they're royal beds, they actually even give you more sleep. And then on top of that, yeah, I'm actually trying to see who can haul and what's going on. Or no, it's hunting. Sure, what it was. I was like, who has the best hunting here? Because I'm going to give one of them the rifle. And then I'm going to mark everybody as, attack instead of run away. And then I found out how many pacifists I have in the group. I'm like, oh my crap. Like there's 2 there. There's 3 there. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I think there's like 8 or 9. Yeah, there's 10, 11, 12. So 1, 2. Oh no, that one I messed up on. So yeah. There's 2, 3. I actually get her to hunt down all the bucks and the does. Then apparently I gave up on sorting them. Oh, here. There we go. So it's the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So yeah, there's 11 of them. They were pacifists.
I was gonna say.
And then here's the rat that's self-tamed. And this is where I find out the Labrador Retriever's my animal. And I'm like, oh, I guess I'll train it. And then I'm like, nah. And then, watch.
Ooh.
I was like, oh, well, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, of course, many hands make for short work, but doesn't help when they explode.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's one of the big things. And then, yeah, I'm just trying to get some more mining done. Oh, man, it's really warm in here for some reason. Or it could just be me.
It's probably just you.
I always get really warm really easily. And we never bought that thing from the dollar store. Or I guess Walmart. We were supposed to buy a little thermometer that's supposed to be in here. So I can actually see if it's actually warm in here, if it's just me.
Yeah, because I'm not really the best judge of temperature either.
Yeah. No, maybe after we record this narration, we'll go up and grab it. What do you think?
That's what you want to do.
Here I am talking about buying stuff while we're talking about narration this series. But the problem is the fact that, like, narrating a lot of these, I have an issue because, like, I know it has happened and I don't want to, like, ruin the later result. I'm like, oh man, I'll just be careful not to say anything too much. Like, there's an ancient danger right there. The game yells at me about it here in a second. I'm like, oh, here's another place. I'll break it down. Like, it's right next to the ancient danger. Maybe I'll deal with the ancient danger. I think that cougar, now thinking back at it, and there was a cougar there that said, I think what happened was the cougar actually killed something to eat it, suffered damage, walked over there, and died. From bleed damage. From, like, the explosion.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So then I'm doing this, and, like, yeah, they're all breaking stuff down. I'm like, you know what? Screw it. Let's deal with the ancient danger right now. I'm not going to recruit anyone else, so let's just get it over and done with right now. So then there's a lot of people running. Some of them are really up north. It's that mining project that was up there. Come on. Come on, everyone. Especially me. Fast forward me. Come on, me. Anyway, I realized that she's a pacifist. This girl right here. So I'm like, you know what? You're going to make yourself useful. What you're going to do is you're going to actually, because you can't punch it because, you know, you're pacifist. I'm going to undraft you. And then I'm like, wait a second. No, you're not going away. You get to break it down. You get to be useful, you little pacifist. And everyone shows up, right? And the game pauses. I unpause it immediately by accident. I grab everybody. And I send them in. Now, this is where a lot of the weird stuff happens. I say that because the concept that I sent them all to attack that one guy. And they kind of get stuck here, which is fine. And then they push through and they go over there, right? And then they just stand there. And I ask them to attack this guy, and they just stand around him. So I don't know if I got like a bunch of pacifists by accident or what was happening.
It's very possible,
But like they just wouldn't go into that room. And then that happened. Or, you know, one of them's down, so like one of the mechs is down, so it blew up. I'm like, oh wow, that's crazy. Oh, well, when this one goes down, there's gonna be a small explosion too. You know. Because there's gonna be. And then he just was like taking then this is where again I'm getting mad. I'm like, you guys get in there and help. Like, seriously. And then I cackled like a witch.
oh my goodness.
And that is pretty much the end of the series. We still have another about 10 minutes of me trying to kill off the rest of them and failing miserably.
There's like 4, 8, like 12 of them?
Yeah, and a bunch of them are pacifists. And like a guy actually raids our base at one point. I know this is a little getting ahead of us. But there's a guy that comes up at some point, and yeah, I try and try and try to get him to kill my people, and he just pistol whips my people down and keeps building stuff. I'm gonna jump ahead here so you guys can actually see, because for the next little while I don't do anything useful. So at this point, this person decides, you know what? I don't want to be here anymore. So she's actually running away. But that's not how this works. We're all in this together. We blow up together. Or we live together. There's no alternative here. We don't run away. So I sent everyone to go beat her up. Turns out I do have a bunch of pacifists. Because all those people over there I think are all pacifists. I'm like, what the hell? And I'm like, oh, you're a pacifist. 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 Son of a bitch! So I just sent all the pacifists to go over there to get blown up when they basically kill each other off. So, you know, they fight. These other people are coming up. They're really slow. He actually will fight. But, see, now the problem is that the person's down, right? But if I actually check their health, which I should be doing here in a second, all their wounds are bruising damage. So they'll never blow up. So I'm like, oh, well, I guess that's useless. And I just leave everyone away. I then dev mode this motherfucker in. Because I was going to send them off to a different camp. But like I couldn't do it because two people were injured.
Oh, okay.
So they couldn't just like walk to a camp to go beat up a random camp. So instead I summoned him in. And I got everyone to go beat him up. And he's actually a siege. And this motherfucker. Oh man, this is like, seriously. This motherfucker just toyed with me. You will see when, like, you know, it gets started here. So, like, everyone runs out. And he's just, like, standing there, you know. He's going to set up a siege. So, he's actually setting up a siege. What his plans are.
Okay.
So, again, a lot of these people are pacifists, but I'm hoping that, you know, he's got a gun. He'll just shoot one of them in the head. And after shooting one of them in the head, they'll blow up and kill him. Or kill them all. So, he shoots that person. Shoots that person again. Shoots that person again. She blows up. His ammunition blows up and everyone's injured. But these two are pacifists. So they can't hurt him. And he just ignores them. He's injured, but not bleeding. And just ignores them. Now she's bleeding and he's bleeding. So I'm like, okay, well, I still have a chance here. So I got a guy. He starts beating him up. They start fighting, right? And he knocks him out with a pistol. Like pistol whipping him. I'm like, oh, that's no big deal. So he punches that guy and just goes back to working. Just punches the guy once to stun him and goes back to working. Punches him once to stun him and goes back to working. Knocks him down. And just proceeds to punch this guy to stun him and goes back to working. Now, like, this guy here actually can fight. So it's like, okay, cool. So they start fighting. And he pistol whips him down again. And then she falls down because she's actually dying from blood loss. Then he walks away. By the time she actually... spoilers. By the time she actually walks away... sorry, he walks away. She blows up then. And I can't use anyone else. Yep, and just continues going back to working. Now, I didn't realize this, though. But apparently, if you actually have, like if you have a siege that's happening like this, if their food gets destroyed or their ammunition gets destroyed, but they're not ready to attack yet, they will summon back in that food. Because here in a few moments, at the very least. Oh, here's another pacifist. At least it's supposed to happen where he just ignores them. Just 100% ignores them. He's just got some walls to build and he doesn't give a crap. So I'm like, screw it, I'll just have all my people get killed by themselves. You know, then there'll just be like the two people like left in the house. I don't care. Well, they're just like, everyone's taking their time. I'm like, there we go. And the one guy's still alive. Actually, those three are still alive. I'm like, wow. That's actually kind of crazy. But all of his food got destroyed. And they actually summoned in more food from him. I was like, that is interesting. So I learned something different. So anyway, as I've already brought up, but as you can probably already tell, this series is over. Tammy did all that work on creating the little thingies and the thumbnails for this, and the series is over. At least I made it. The thumbnails really simple, Tams.
I know. I just.
However, everyone's blown up now. So now it's just literally the two people having mental breaks in the place, and then 3 people are down. But I'm going to probably pick this up next year. I'm probably going to load the game and do it next year. So, it hasn't come to a complete waste, Stamps. I'll use them next year. Okay. Same place, same concept, same amount of people, but next year. So, until then, April Fools.